Good morning, dear students. I'm Miss Nidhi Singh, and today I'm going to deliver a lecture on the 5-year plans in India. In the last lecture, we discussed about the 5-year plan, how these are designed. So today we are going to discuss about various 5-year plans in India. So let's start with the first one, that is the first 5-year plan 1951 to 55. This plan attempted to stimulate balanced economic development while the correcting imbalances caused by World War II and India's partition. Agriculture, including projects that combined irrigation and power generation and received priority. इस प्लान में बेसिक फोकस एग्रीकल्चर इरिगेशन फैसिलिटीज पे दिया गया और उन्हीं को प्रायोरिटी दी गई. Second 5-year plan 1956 to 60. It emphasized industrialization, particularly of basic heavy industries in the public sector and improvement of economic infrastructure. The plan also stressed social goals such as more equal distribution of income and extension of the benefits of economic development to the large number of disadvantaged people. इस प्लान में हमने बेसिकली फोकस किया गया था इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन की साइड में, प्लस उन लोगों की तरफ जिनको बेनिफिट नहीं मिल पा रहा है या फिर वो पीपल जो स्कीम्स का एडवांटेजेस नहीं ले पा रहे हैं. इट मींस इसमें फोकस किया गया था सोशल जस्टिस पे. 5-year plan, that is 1961 to 1965. This plan aimed at substantial rise in national and per capita income while expanding the industrial base and rectifying the neglect of agriculture in previous plan. The third plan called for national income to grow at a rate of more than 5% a year. Self-sufficiency in food grains was anticipated in the mid-1960s. Next 5-year plan is fourth 5-year plan, that is 1969 to 73. It called for 24% increases over the third plan in real terms of public development expenditure. The public sector accounted for 60% of plan expenditures and foreign aid contributed 13% of plan financing. Agriculture, including irrigation, received 23% of public outlays. The rest was mostly spent on electric power, industry, transportation. Although the plan projected national income growth of 5.7% a year, the realized rate was 3.3%. Fifth 5-year plan 1974 to 78. This plan was drafted in late 1973 when crude oil prices were rising rapidly and rising prices quickly forced a series of revisions. The plan was subsequently approved in late 1976 but was terminated at the end of 1977 because the new government had different priorities and programs. The fifth year plan was in effect only 1 year, although it provides some guidance to investment throughout the 5-year period. Next is sixth 5-year plan 1980 to 84. The plan intended to be flexible and was based on the principle of annual rolling plans. It called for development expenditure of nearly 1.9 trillion in 1979 prices, of which 90% would be financed from domestic sources, 57% of which would come from the public sector. Public sector development spending would be concentrated in energy, that is 29%, agriculture and irrigation 24%, mining 16%, transportation 16%, and social services 14%. The plan called for a 5.1% a year GDP growth and a target that was supposed by 0.3%. Only about 10% of the poor rose above the poverty level. Next plan is 7th 5-year plan 1985 to 89. It includes a greater emphasis on the allocation of resources to energy and social spending at the expense of industry and agriculture. In reality, the main increase was in transportation and communications, which took up 17% of public sector expenditure during this period. Total spending was targeted at nearly 3.9 trillion, of which 94% would be financed from domestic resources, including 48% from the public sector. Next, 8th five-year plan, that is 1992 to 1997. This plan was launched in April 1992 and emphasized market-based policy reform rather than quantitative targets. Total spending was planned 8.7 trillion, of which 94% would be financed from domestic resources, 45% of which would come from public sector. Government document issued in 1992 indicated that GDP growth was expected to increase from annual 5% a year during the 7th plan to 5.6% a year during the 8th plan. Next, ninth five-year plan 1997 to 2002. The ninth five-year plan came into operation from 1st April 1997, consistent with objective outlined in the Common Minimum Programs. The plan targets on accelerated annual growth rate of 7% of GDP during the plan period, of which 4.5% will come from agriculture and 9.3% from industry. The targeted growth rates are predicted on crucial assumptions such as lower incremental capital output ratio, higher domestic saving, higher revenue collection, and lower fiscal deficit. Next five-year plan is 10th five-year plan 2002 to 2007. The 10th five-year plan was prepared against a backdrop of high expectation arising from some aspects of recent performance. GDP growth in the past performance period improved to an average of about 6.1% in the 8th and ninth plan from an average of about 5.7% in 1980s, making India one of the 10 fastest growing developing countries. Encouraging progress was also made in other dimensions. Next plan is 11th five-year plan 2007 to 2012. The National Development Council has approved the 11th five-year plan for the period of 2007 to 2012. The plan document is entitled Towards Faster and More Inclusive Growth. The Indian economy on the eve of 11th plan is much stronger than it was on the starting of 10th plan. 10th plan has achieved the highest growth rate of GDP at 7.8%. The 11th plan enters with a saving rate at 34.8% of GDP and the investment rate at 35.9% of GDP. Next five-year plan is 12th five-year plan 2012 to 2017. On 4th October, the Government of India approved the 12th five-year plan 2012 to 17 that aims to achieve the annual average economic growth rate of 8.2%, down from 9% 11th plan. The aim of 12th five-year plan is to achieve faster, sustainable and more inclusive growth. Next topic is critical evaluation of 12th five-year plans. Some of the major problems that are addressed under 12th five-year plan, which are given as follow. As you can see on the slide, there are certain points. Number one is enhancing the capacity for growth. Today, India can sustain a GDP growth of 8% a year. Increasing this to 9 or 10% will need more mobilization of investment resources, better allocation of these resources through more efficient capital markets, higher investment in infrastructure through both public sector and private sector, and more efficient use of public resources. Second point is enhancing skills with faster generation of employment. It is believed that India's economic growth is not generating enough jobs or livelihood opportunities. At the same time, many sectors face manpower shortages. To address both, we need to improve our education and training systems, create efficient and accessible labor markets for all skill categories, and encourage the faster growth of small and micro enterprises. Third point is managing environment. Environmental and ecological degradation has serious global and local implications, especially for the most vulnerable citizens of our country. Next point is decentralization, empowerment and information. Greater and more informed participation of all citizens in decision making, enforcing accountability, exercising their rights and entitlements, and determining the course of their life is central to faster growth, inclusion, and sustainability. Next point is technology and innovation. Technological and organizational innovation is the key to higher productivity and competitiveness. How can we encourage and innovate their diffusion in academia and government as well as in enterprises of all sizes? Next point is securing the energy future of India. Faster and more inclusive growth will require a rapid increase in energy consumption. Since we have limited domestic resources, to meet this need equitably and affordably without compromising on our environment is the big challenge under 12th five-year plan. Next point is accelerated development of transport infrastructure. Our inadequate transport infrastructure results in lower efficiency and productivity, higher transaction cost, and insufficient access to large national market. How can we create an efficient and widespread multi-modal transport network? Next very important point is rural transformation and sustained growth of agriculture. Rural India suffers from poor infrastructure and inadequate amenities. Low agriculture growth perpetuates food and nutritional insecurities, which also reduces rural income. To encourage and support our village in improving their living and livelihood conditions in innovative ways is the biggest challenge under 12th five-year plan. Next point is managing urbanization. Most of our metro cities are under severe stress with inadequate social and physical infrastructure coupled with worsening pollution. Migrate pressure are likely to increase to make cities more livable and to ensure that smaller cities and towns are not similarly overwhelmed. Tomorrow is a major concern under 12th five-year plan. Next point is improved access to quality education. Educational and training facilities have been increasingly rapidly. However, access, affordability and quality remain serious concern. Employability is also an issue. To improve the quality and the utility of our education while ensuring equity and affordability is significantly important. Next important point is better preventive and curative health care. India's health indicators are not improving as fast as other socio-economic indicators. Good health care is perceived to be either unavailable or unaffordable. To improve healthcare conditions, both curative and preventive, especially relating to women and children, is a major concern under 12th five-year plan. So students, it was all about the five-year plans. So in the next topic, we will discuss some other points from the agriculture sector. Thank you very much.